Hello Spartan fans, I'm Alex Love and you are watching the first episode of Spartan Sports Network, USC Upstate's newest sports talk show. We begin with a Get to Know Your Coaches segment. I sit down with all of the fall sport head coaches and we talk about what are the expectations facing the teams this year and how do they expect them to do. We'll begin with cross country. I sit down with Coach Carson Blackwelder, and the two-time ASUN Cross Country Coach of the Year talks to me about what he expects to see from the Spartans out on the cross country course.
So what we always want to see from every athlete is that they're improving, they're getting better, whether that's in time or in place, as in beating people. In cross country, it's not necessarily about time, it's more about beating people more than anything else. But time is a good judge of where they're at overall, especially if we run on the same course. We talked about having 3 home meets. Well, if you see yourself getting faster at each of those meets with very similar weather conditions, then you know you're getting better. So each individual we want to see getting better. As a team, last year we were 4th on the men's side. I'd like to see us there again, if not 3rd. So trying to knock on that door of 3rd. If everything comes together and is absolutely amazing and everyone's clicking at the right time on the right day, who knows? Maybe we look at top 2. But right now it's sort of keeping our eyes on 4th and knocking on the door of 3rd. On the women's side, looking to break into that top half of the conference, looking to break in there and be able to beat a few teams and just really come together as a team and improve overall.
So, Coach Blackwelder, talk to me about some key runners you have this season in terms of the newcomers and the returners. How are they going to be a big help to the team?
I think our both men and women's team are going to rely on our upperclassmen. On the men's side, Theodore is going to be big, and also Alex Love. Then we also have a rising sophomore class of Dorian Jones, Eric Lewis, Marcus Miles, that are going to be right up there in the mix. So, having that group of guys is going to be our core for the team. We have a couple newcomers that can play a role, Corey Tate, I think, and then a couple freshmen that are going to sort of step in there and depending on how they handle the 8K, can be factors with Jacob and Jared. On the women's side, again, it's going to be the upperclassmen that are going to be the ones to really lead the way. Leah Jost, Ruby Lewis, and Kelsey Warren are definitely going to be up there. So it really will develop over the course of the season. So it's hard to tell at this exact moment, but we have a lot of good individuals working hard right now, and we'll see who really steps up throughout the season.
Coach, let's talk about the preseason. Let's just talk about the team bonding that it builds. Why do you choose to do what you do, and how does it help in terms of getting ready for the regular season?
It's a good thing to do to come in, get to know each other before the season starts. Also, just getting in the routine of running, getting up in the morning, practicing, getting ready for everything. So we do a couple trips here and there, run off campus. We typically run on the same trails for the most part during the season. So just getting to do something different and everything from the van rides to eating meals and that type of stuff is good team bonding and just getting to know each other. Just being able to talk to a teammate and get to know them. So that's the main reason we do it is not necessarily team bonding, but just getting to know the people that you run with and work with on a daily basis.
You're hosting 3 meets this year. It's conference, which is the biggest one. You're also starting off with Eye Opener, as always, and the Upstate invite, which is always big. How do you think those 3 meets at home will help the team this year in terms of being at Milliken and just conference being on the home course? Does it play an advantage to the Spartans?
It's good to have. It's always good to have your conference championships at home. And then along with that, you're going to have your home meets. That way, preview meets for other teams and this and that. But it's great to be able to run on your home course, a place that you work out on a daily basis, a place that you know like the back of your hand. So I think it's going to be a big advantage for us come the conference championships. Upstate Invite's always been a solid meet, and the Eye Opener's been a good meet for us too. So I like it in terms that we get to see the course quite a bit, not only on a daily basis, but also in race competition, in that atmosphere that it really counts while you have your singlet on and your spikes on and you're running hard. So I think it's going to be a big advantage for us this year.
So the workouts that cross country does, people might not be familiar with the sport, but just talk about some of the key workouts. How does it help the team? How does it help different runners from the other ones? And just how does it prep for the races, which are only 5 miles for the guys, 3.1 miles for the girls, yet the workouts are longer than that. So just how does that play a key role in the sport?
I wouldn't say there's specific key workouts. It's the putting them all together that is what really helps. Now for the 5 mile races for the men, the 8K, it's the longer tempo work, the long runs. It's the day in, day out and putting in of hard work that's going to be important. Definitely the tempo runs are very important for our athletes, but also mile repeats, thousands, 800s, all of that type of stuff. It's going to be good. So I can't really pinpoint and put my finger on any specific workouts. It's the culmination of all of it. It's sort of like a recipe. If you're baking a cake, what's the most important ingredient? Well, they're all important. So it's really putting it all together, and that's when you come out with the finished product.
Cross Country will be hosting their first meet over at the Milliken plant here in Spartanburg, and that'll be on September the 2nd, starting at 6:30 p.m. Moving on to volleyball now, I sat down with Coach Calloway earlier this week, and we talked about her background here at USC Upstate and how she expects to improve the team and see the girls grow in the 2016 season.
Coach Calloway, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, thanks.
Good. So I want to just start with, how long have you been at Upstate, and what do you like about the volleyball program? How have you made it grow over the years?
Well, I've been here, this has been my 21st season, and so I just think, I've been here through the Division II years, I've been here through the Division I years, and it's been great to really see the school grow, to see all the athletic programs really grow and blossom.
Let's talk about this season coming up. What are some goals you have, or what do you see in improvements of the team, how they've been working through the preseason?
So this year, we've kind of done something a little different. Typically teams come in and you have goals, and you're like, oh, we want to win the conference, and oh, we want to do, all these like typical things. But we've kind of changed up a little bit, and we've decided, we really just want to focus on our behavior. Really focus on what we can control. So we're really focusing a lot more just on effort and how we perform, and like I said, all those things that we can control, and just giving everything we have and being the best that we can be.
So talk to me about some key players then. Who do you see has stepped up in leadership in terms of the upperclassmen, but also talk about the newcomers coming in. What have they shown you that you were that may have surprised you, or just may have shown you, yep, I made the right choice in recruiting these ladies?
So I think we have 10 returning players, and they're a really good group. And I think what I really love the most about the returning players is that we don't really have one standout, that we have many really talented players. They all work extremely hard, and they get along. They have really good team chemistry, and I think this year will probably be one of the better defensive teams that we have this year. I just see us as being fearless on defense, very scrappy, and they're really competitive. There's some true competitors on this team. As far as the incoming freshmen, I've been really pleased with how well they've adjusted to the pace of the game, to the pace of practice, and I love what they bring to our environment in practice.
When it comes to recruiting, a lot of coaches around Upstate particularly, they look for a lot of local athletes. They look within the Carolinas. I'm an exception with cross country and track being from Baltimore, Maryland, but you do recruiting a little differently. What I notice when I look at your roster, you go up into the Midwest, Indiana, Illinois, and you look around that part of the country. Why is that? Is that a particular part of the country that volleyball is more just trained with than down here, or is it just because it's where you're from?
Well, I love Midwest volleyball. It definitely gets a lot more attention. A lot of the Midwest players start out at a younger age, and they're training earlier. And but there's also, there's a lot of good places and good areas to recruit. It's really about who wants to come to us. So we may be recruiting nationwide, But it really just comes down to who really wants to come here, who feels comfortable here. And I think, I have a lot more connection in Illinois. And so I think through the connections, I think ultimately they feel much more comfortable here. Now this year we have 5 South Carolina girls on the team, which is, like you said, it is a little unusual, but South Carolina volleyball is starting to grow. It's growing slowly into where there are some really great volleyball players here. So we definitely want to go after those South Carolina players as well.
Something also that stands out from your program that I don't think a lot of upstate programs follow, it may vary by sport, but you guys go to tournaments much more often than a lot of other sports like soccer or basketball. You don't have a lot of home games compared to the other sports. Is that some strategy you only use, or is that something that just deals with volleyball? And talk about how it might affect the team being on the road much more than being at home.
So basically, in volleyball in general, everyone pretty much starts out with about 4 weekends of preseason tournaments. And I don't mean like exhibition games like soccer has. I mean like this is our non-conference schedule, basically. And in that non-conference schedule, if we can play in weekend tournaments, we can get an extra match or 2 in that weekend. So versus, just playing a single match, because with the NCAA, you only have so many dates to compete, and so if you are playing it, you just have to count it per day, not per match. So if we play in a weekend, we might play 2 matches on one day. So, you can just get in a little extra competition. You can find out, what you need to work on, where you are, and kind of measure yourself against these other teams before you actually get into conference play.
Something I'd like to add into talking to you, we hear so much about the Hodge from the basketball standpoint, but I'd like to touch on your standpoint on the Hodge. What do you like about it? How do you think it really helps out the team compared to being rated top 15 in Stadium Journey magazine? What is volleyball like about the Hodge?
So what I really love about the Hodge is I love the size of the Hodge. I think it allows for the fans to have more of an intimate view. They're right behind the bench. I think it's a great practice facility for those same reasons. And I also love, the video boards that we have. I feel like, we've been very fortunate to have access to the video boards where you can see all their stats. You can see instant replay. We're able to produce excellent videos, pregame videos. And so I think there's a lot of advantages we have to playing in such an intimate facility.
Well, my last question I want to ask you is, let's talk about the season coming up now. You've got individual games that are both non-conference and conference, of course. Just who do you see that you like having on the schedule each year? What are the games you're looking forward to? And just what are the most important games that the team needs to focus on?
So really our main focus is going to be conference, obviously, but we kind of split it up. We have like a non-conference season, and then you have a conference season. So right away we start out with a non-conference schedule, and actually we have the first 3 Tuesdays, so August 30th, September 6th, and September 13th, we have home matches. So we have home matches on Tuesday at 6 o'clock right here in the Hodge, and we would really love it if you guys could drum up some people to come out and just support us and see what it's all about.
All right, talking to Coach Calloway of Upstate Volleyball. Coach, I want to thank you for joining me today and wish you the best of luck this season.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to County University Soccer Stadium, sports fans. I'm here with Greg Hooks, the men's soccer head coach. Coach Hooks, how you doing this evening?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
Doing well, thank you. Let's just start with your background. How long have you been here at USC Upstate?
My first year was 1995, so this is the start of my 22nd season, I think.
Yeah. Something I've been asking the other head coaches around the fall sports is growing the program. Talk about growing the program when you first came in here. What have you done? What have you seen the players do to help make this program feel like a real D1 program?
Well, when we first came in 1995 through 2006, we're Division II, but we're a very successful Division II. Actually, our very first year, we hosted the national championship, played the national championship game, hosted and played it again in 1998, finished second in the nation both years. So I'm not sure if the program has necessarily grown as much as it's transitioned from the Division II to Division I, and there is a difference. But The soccer program was successful before I got here, and I kind of just continued that. We probably had more national appearances from 95 to 2006, but there was also a transition. If you know the history of the program, there was a transition from NAI to Division II, so it's actually kind of gone through growing stages for a while, and there are differences as you do. So probably the biggest difference I've seen is our facilities are better. Where we used to play, Rifle Field is now a dorm. We used to practice on our game field, and now we have 5 practice fields. Obviously, County University Stadium is very nice compared to Rifle Field. It's more of a stadium feel. So the success in Division I's comes slowly because it is a big transition. It takes a lot of money and it takes a lot of time. And but I think we're heading in the right direction. So probably the biggest growth I've seen is finally we're now making some headway and being competitive at the Division I level. And it's not something in men's soccer. It's not something that happens overnight.
Oh, yeah. That's definitely.
Now, men's soccer will be hosting their first home game August the 29th at 7 p.m., taking on the Presbyterian College Blue Hose, located right behind the University Readiness Center, County University Soccer Stadium, where all the soccer games will be hosted for the men and women's. And now, speaking of the women, we move on to them for our last segment. Unfortunately, their head coach Tyson John was unavailable for an interview this week, but the 74-23 record coach from Martin Methodist tells me he has never been more excited and cannot wait to take the field with the Lady Spartans. They've been going through a lot of practice changes in terms of times and drills to make sure they are ready for their season opener. Well, that'll do it for Spartan Sports Network Episode 1, Getting to Know Your Coaches, ladies and gentlemen. I want to thank Wesley Herring, the SID here at USC Upstate, for all the pictures that you saw in today's episode. I'd also like to thank all the coaches who took the time to sit down with me and answer the questions about the upcoming seasons. For all the latest videos to come, please go to my YouTube channel, Alex Love, and also my Facebook page to see all of the latest videos, the highlights, and much, much more in coaches and student athletes all around USC Upstate Athletics. I'm Alex Love reporting for Spartan Sports Network. Have a great day.